Okay, hello YouTube. I am just going to wait for a couple of minutes and make sure everybody can hear me and see me and wait for you. Give me a thumbs up when you guys join if you can hear me. I am going to share this video. At the end of this, please let me know that you can hear me okay. All right, that my microphone is working. And okay, and please save your questions for after the way that the YouTube chat works is that your comments are going to show up like real quick and then they're going to go away. And I'm going to need some time to respond. So just to make sure that I don't miss any of your questions, please wait until the end. Or if you ask one and if I don't see it, please remind me because it's not that I want to ignore your question. Okay, so I'm just going to give it just a couple of more minutes here. I'm fixing the tags in this video. Thank you guys so much for joining and for your patience. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. Again, if you pop in and out, that's okay. And at the end will be some questions, so save them for then. I cannot wait to hear from you guys. So what I really wanted to talk to you about tonight is detoxing your body after narcissistic abuse. And this is done for many reasons. Your body becomes toxic when you produce too many chemicals in your own body. So your neurotransmitters and the chemicals that your body will naturally produce can be over flooding your system. And this can cause not only issues in the way that your brain is structured, but it can also cause just normal bodily functions to slow down or to stop altogether. And I'm talking now about the actual chemistry within your body. Of course, there's other unseen things that stress and that kind of thing can do to your body, but this is really a buildup of too many toxins, of hormones and of chemicals that your body naturally produces, that your brain naturally produces, but they flood your system when you're in a trauma bond. And I have a whole video that discusses more of the exact ingredients or the exact chemicals that are released and why this buildup can really become so toxic for your body. In this video, I really want to talk to you about ways to detox. Something else that happens too is for whatever reason, perhaps you've been involved with a narcissist for a while and you're on medication to treat some of the issues that have resulted from that. Those medications are also responding with the amount of hormones and the chemicals that are kind of floating around in your bloodstream that are being stored up in your muscle tissue. And so there can just be multiple things going on, and you're becoming addicted to your own self. So all of those chemicals, all of the hormones, everything that you've been producing while you've been with the narcissist, your body has gotten used to having a constant flood of that stream of chemicals. And when you separate from the narcissist, this is why breaking a trauma bond is so hard, because you're still craving, your body, your physical body is craving that that release. And when it doesn't get it, you can start to feel depressed, irritated, angry. You start going through physical withdrawal symptoms. And again, I have a whole video that talks about all of this, but I do want to talk to you about some ways that you can detox from that. And another thing that happens is that while you're in the relationship or while you're constantly around a narcissist, you start to feel not yourself. So you start feeling like you've just lost yourself somewhere along the line, and this can lead to not a lot of activity, a sedative lifestyle. Maybe you're not eating healthy, maybe you're just taking the easy way out and you're just going through drive-throughs on your way home from work. Whatever the case may be, again, there's multiple reasons why your body would be building up the chemicals the way that it is. But when you're leaving a narcissist, or when you're in the process of separating and putting distance between you and a narcissist, or maybe you're still living with a narcissist, but you've recognized the fact that you're in an unhealthy situation, that you want to make some changes for your own body, it's important to start being mindful of what you're doing right now. So what are you eating right now? What kind of activities are you doing right now? What kind of lack of activities? What are the normal highs and lows? This is something that I work with my clients on, understanding your baseline. So where do you sit on the scale of 1 to 10 when there's, just on an everyday basis? Like on average, where are you on that scale? Are you sitting at, like, are you naturally depressed? Or are you just not really energetic? And that it's not a judgment thing. It's just like, where are you? Just know yourself and be paying attention to things that will set you either above that baseline or below that baseline. Really being mindful of what you're doing, where your energy, where you get energy from, like activities that really make you come alive versus things that really drain you. Obviously, if you're living with a narcissist, or if you're still seeing the narcissist on a daily basis or on a regular basis, it can be draining. But besides that, apart from that, are there normal activities that you shouldn't be drained from, but you're feeling drained? So knowing yourself is really going to help you know what kind of detox you need to do and where that detox needs to specify, like where you actually need to be doing the detox. So again, paying attention to your habits. Is it because you don't have time, or you don't feel like putting the energy into making yourself healthy meals? Is it because you just feel like you don't want to do anything and you just sit around when you get home from work and just call it a day? Like you go to work 9 to 5, you come home and you don't want to do anything else after that. So really knowing your own self and paying attention to your specific habits and your behaviors and how those behaviors make you feel is going to tell you what you need to do in order to start detoxing your own body. Because there really isn't like everybody needs to go on this type of detox, or everybody needs to eat this or do this. There really isn't that, because we all have such different lifestyles, and what is causing the toxicity in our bodies is going to be different for each person. So I just want to kind of throw out some things to you that you can start doing to detox your body. So sometimes we've gotten so dependent upon medications or people or certain activities, like we've gotten into these habits where we just become dependent upon them, so we can't really tell what we are or who we are apart from those things. I don't know, for example, who I would be without the narcissist, or I don't know how I would be without my antidepressants. And again, this isn't a judgment statement, and it's not I'm not advocating for you to stop taking or to start taking medication. I'm just saying this could be a possibility where you just don't know what you would be like without those outside influences in your system. And if that's the case, again, just being really mindful during your day, like what makes you respond to stuff. Try adding one thing at a time, or taking away one thing at a time, so that you can really adjust to the new influences, the new substances that you're putting in or taking out of your routines. And so first of all, I wanted to share with you a little bit about um, my story, I guess, a little bit. Um, I was in Iraq in 2007 and 2008, and I got sick, and I couldn't digest meat. So I was really angry about this, and I continued to eat meat, and I continued to be sick. And so finally, when I decided to do what the doctor was telling me, which was stop eating meat and allow my body to heal, I felt so good that I went into being a raw vegan. And I was a raw vegan for a long time, and many years. And then I started to get more active, started doing marathons and stuff. And so I needed to eat more. So I just became regular vegan. I was regular vegan until in 2014, I deployed to Afghanistan, and I was getting sick because I wasn't getting enough nutrients in my body. So I became vegetarian, and I'm vegetarian still, and I've been vegetarian since. So since 2008, I haven't eaten meat. And I'm also very kind of aware of my environment. I pay attention to every type of stimulus that I'm putting into my environment, not just into my body. I'm aware of the music I'm listening to. I'm aware of how much exposure to the blue lights that I have every day. And so I live a lifestyle of fasting. So I'm pretty sensitive to new things that come into my system. When you're starting on this process, though, I mean, it wasn't always like that for me. I remember being very sick and not being able to tell, what made me feel good at all. Like I was just a little bit less sick. But like I said, for me, really introducing lots of raw veggies and being mindful of that, like being intentional about meal planning and meal prepping and stuff like that. And again, sometimes it's not practical for everybody. Sometimes maybe you just don't even know how to start with that. By the way, I have on my website a free ebook of smoothies that you can do, like breakfast smoothies. And they're all like made to incorporate a lot of nutrition in them, lots of superfoods and stuff like that. So you can get that for free. It's on my website. If you can't control what you're putting into your body, so you have to be on medication, or it just doesn't make sense for you to try to take on this task of meal prepping and preparing out meals and every single thing that you're going to be eating, try to be aware and control your environment, your atmosphere. So be aware of the music, be aware of how much TV. In fact, stop watching TV. Get off of social media. Just start really being alone with yourself so that you can get to know yourself. Because again, you're not going to know what area to start to address within yourself if you don't know what area is off, or it should be how it should be. Yes, ready to detox. Yeah, you won't know what area will really need to be addressed if you can't tell what the influence is that is making you feel that certain way. So again, the peaks and valleys exercise is a great one that you can do every day. Basically, before you go to bed every night, write down the 3 top highest points in your day, like things that made you feel really good or things that brought you joy. And then write down the 3 valleys, the things that brought you lower, the things that didn't make you feel so good, the things that were kind of hard for you to face that day. And when you get up in the morning, review the list that you made. And that day, make a commitment to make those valleys your peaks. So, I didn't like the way that I, for example, reacted when I was in traffic on my way to work. Okay, so today I'm reviewing my list. I'm going to make sure that I'm in a better headspace, that I have a plan in place for how I'm going to handle stress that comes to me during the commute to work or whatever. So being mindful of what you are doing and what brings you joy, what brings you low, all of that is really going to help you identify, again, the things that actually need to get changed in your routine, in what you consume, in what you allow into your life, all of that. will help you pinpoint it. Pay attention to how much caffeine and how much alcohol you are having. I realize that this is like very basic, um, but you know that you can be addicted to all of this kind of stuff, and caffeine is the most addictive substance in the US. More people are addicted to it than alcohol, than drugs, illegal and legal drugs. So being aware of the fact that you're putting additional chemicals into your body that may be putting you further on edge, that may be bringing you into a more depressed state. This is stuff that you have to be mindful of if you want to not only level out, but come up into the best version of yourself, really live a healthy life, not, like walking in health, not just like getting out of sickness. You know what I mean? Like all of you fully functioning, um, fully operating. So another thing to do is to make sure you're getting into bed at the same time every night. And I know that this can be hard, just how life works. Um, if you cannot control the time, like even a time frame like between 10 and 10:30 or whatever would be appropriate for your schedule, get into the same space, every night before you go to bed. So even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you actually lay down and get into your bed, start being mindful. I'm going to go to sleep now, and start, if you do affirmations, if you do declarations, start declaring those things over yourself. I'm going to have amazing dreams tonight. I'm going to get enough rest to thanks, Cornelius Creations. If I'm going to get into that right space as I lay down to sleep, I'm going to give my body the rest that it needs. My mind is going to reset. My soul is going to have a break. My spirit is going to be fully awake. I'm ready to receive dreams. Start declaring these things over yourself so that you are at least going into, you are making a line between the waking life and your sleeping life, and get into that space, honor that space, create a place that is sacred for you as you transition from waking to sleeping. So this is really going to help your brain shut down, first of all, so it'll stop producing a lot of the things that different chemicals and hormones that we release when we're stressed, when we're anxious, if we're very excited, all of that kind of stuff. Our brains will start to calm down, our bodies will start to calm down, and everything will work in harmony with us. We're not going to be fighting our brain because my brain wants to stay awake and my body wants to go to sleep. It won't be that kind of tug of war. So if you're really mindful, it all really boils down to being mindful of you and what works for you. What works for me may not be what works for you. And you need to be okay with that. And everybody else needs to be okay with it too. So that's another thing. If you can, try to do 1 day a week where you don't use an alarm. That is a good way to make sure that your body is constantly having enough time to process everything that it went through, get enough rest and recharge, as well as allowing your brain the time that it needs to reset, to not constantly be on and having to make decisions. And this is especially critical in times of stress. In times of stress, you need to go to sleep. You need to be able to, again, create that space between waking life and sleeping life, and go to sleep and allow your body to totally recharge, because you will not be as effective in your critical moments if you cannot know how to do that. And a lot of this is life skills, coping skills, but your needs often get put to the back burner when you're with a narcissist, and what your dreams are, what you like to do, often just gets pushed aside, and you forget to do coping skills, you forget to do self-care skills. And so it's really, really important that you do this, because this all has to do with health. I can't have a healthy body without having a healthy mind, and I can't have a healthy mind if my body doesn't allow me to do the things that my mind wants to do, the things that are creative to me and expressive to me. So really being aware of how your body works, the fact that your body deeply connects to your soul, and that your soul is the interface between your body and your spirit, and being aware of all of those parts of you and being able to tell, my spirit wants this, my body wants this, my soul wants this, and knowing which part of you is speaking, because your body can mislead you. It can be addicted to things that are bad for you, that are harmful to you, that are deteriorating your health overall. And so being mindful is going to allow you to say, okay, that's my body. It is addicted to this thing, or it is making unhealthy choices right now because I'm tired, because I'm stressed, whatever. And being able to label it, to be able to say, this is what is happening, is going to allow you, even creating that space again between what you're thinking and what you do on that thought. You're not your thoughts. You don't have to react to your thoughts. Um, I really need a routine. Yes. Yeah. I don't ever have news on. Ever. Not ever. Not ever. Ever do I have news on. It is negative energy. First of all, it's polluting my atmosphere, and I will never put that on ever. And definitely, I'm not going to put it on at nighttime, for sure. It's negative energy, and the blue lights are very distractive, very disruptive to your circadian rhythm, and you know that your body is absorbing those lights. Even if your eyes are not watching the TV, your body is absorbing them, and just stuff like that. Too stressful and filled with triggers. Yeah, yeah, and it's not. I read news, but I the way that I structure my day is that I don't do anything until I'm ready to get into that space. So again, it's just being mindful and carving out the times. Um, so when I wake up, I have quiet time for 3 hours. I don't turn on my phone for 3 hours at least. And when I do turn on my phone, it's to turn on like music or whatever, and I get ready for my day. When I am ready to sit down and do my work, and I'm ready to focus on responding to emails or whatever I have going on, I'm ready to sit down and prepare coaching clients. I get into that space. It's a different space for me, and that is the way that I structure my day. And again, I realize that this may not be what works for you. But it really helps if you are able to create that space, and between what you are doing and when you're transitioning into a new thing. So when you're driving on your way home from work, for example, that's a great place for you to start preparing, like to first of all release everything that you did at work, and to start anticipating or taking on and looking forward to the things that you're about to step into at your home. I can't wait to see my kids. I'm ready to cook dinner, whatever your nightly activities are going to include. And so for sure, that is something that is really, really important. I have something that I want to read to you. I need to pull it up on my laptop here really quick. Um, but knowing you and knowing yourself, your own self, and spending time with yourself, um, because we can get into a routine where it's easier to just be distracted. So it's easier if I just have the TV on. It's easier if I am just listening to podcasts or audiobooks. And even if they're super helpful, even if they're very good materials, I'm filling up all my time, all of my atmosphere with stuff that is of somebody else. That isn't me. That isn't, I didn't learn anything about me by listening to that, or by entertaining that show or that thought, or whatever. And we really need to have quiet time. Our brains need it. And so it can also distract us from not wanting to deal with uncomfortable situations, things that we have buried, things that it's just easier if we're always busy. And yeah, and this is very common. And the bad thing is that you're going to have to continue to get busier and busier and more distracted and filled up with activities to suppress that stuff, because you are naturally created. Your soul, so your mind, will, and emotions, your emotions are going to constantly bringing up to you triggers, constantly bringing up to you, constantly bringing it up to you. This is making me sad. This is making me anxious, because it's how you would heal. By sitting and addressing that is how you eventually heal and get rid of that trigger so that your soul is peaceful. And if you continue to ignore it and shove it and push it down, your soul is not going to find any rest. And so it's, again, your soul is very connected to your body. So every time you feel that emotion, your brain is releasing a bunch of chemicals into your body. So your body is getting the effects of that. And this is why sitting quietly, and really taking a look at what is going on. Another thing that I'll have my clients do is to get like a little notebook. And because sometimes you'll be out and about and something will trigger you. A song will come on, or you'll see something and something triggers you. But you can't take time to be quiet right then and there because you're grocery shopping or whatever. You're in line at the bank. You can't take time to just be quiet right there, but write down the fact that you were triggered, and later on, go back and keep looking at the root. It's not like, oh yeah, that reminded me of this event. Continue to look at the root of that event. Why is that event so ingrained in you? Was it the first time that you experienced that thing? Or, is it associated with another person or a place? Or you have to keep looking at what is behind it, because until you're willing to listen to your own self, you're going to continue to find, first of all, that it's difficult to get people to listen to you and to respect you, because even if you're putting on a different face out in public, you have already told yourself you're not worth it. I'm not listening to you. You're not telling me helpful information, and I'm shoving to the side what you're saying to me. The way that you treat yourself is subconsciously relayed to everybody that you meet. And so you're going to find yourself running into the same type of people because that's the way that you're treating yourself. And that's a whole other thing. So I'm on Quora. If you don't know what Quora is, it's like basically a place where you can write questions and then people answer them. And so I'm on Quora, and somebody had asked me a really interesting question, which I was really sitting down to think about. It was something where I just really didn't have an answer for it. And so it was an interesting question to me. So the question was, why does the narcissist have to cause some sort of argument right before bed? It's like he can't sleep unless, but once he causes the argument, he can go to sleep, but he can't sleep unless there's like something right before bed. And this was such an interesting question to me. I really felt like there was a reason behind it. So I want to tell you, I went to really meditate on this question to find out what the root of it is. I want to read to you this. This is Proverbs 4. This is verse 16. Proverbs 4:16. For evil people can't sleep until they've done their evil deed for the day. They can't rest until they've caused someone else to stumble. And for me, I was just like, this is wild. So the other part of detoxing is to be aware of your own self and to be aware of the things that are in your environment. So if you find yourself constantly fighting with a narcissist, or constantly having the same situations arise at the same period of time every day, that's a great indicator of something that needs to be addressed. And again, I don't teach people to just look at what is happening in the natural, because there's so much other stuff. And if you only look at what is happening to you with what your eyes can see and what your ears can hear and your body can feel, you're never going to get to the root of the issue. And that thing is always going to be growing back and coming back. And you're going to be struggling with it over and over. So the root of it is always in the spirit realm. And this really talks about what is in you. See that this is a device that the enemy is going to continue to use, to take away sleep. The word says that God gives rest to his beloved, and rest is a reward from God, it says. So when you find that you are constantly having an argument right before bed, you know that you need to take authority over that in the spirit realm. Because if you continue to try to, yes, yes. And if you, yes, free indeed. Thank you for sharing. So if you continue to find yourself doing the same things during a certain period of time, you need to sit and really meditate on what is happening. Why is this occurring? Because that's where you're going to find the answer, the solution to fixing that problem, to really having an end to that situation occurring again. And again, sleep is so important for your body. It's so important for your brain. It's so important for your soul. And it's super important for your spirit. You know that every person is a spirit. We are all spirits first. We have a soul, we have a body. And when we go to sleep in the nighttime, our spirits get to connect freely to its home. We get to recharge in the spirit realm, which really is what fuels our soul and our body. And without doing that, we're going to be missing out on that connection that's keeping us alive. You know, have you seen people who walk around living like they're breathing, but you can tell they're just not alive? There's nothing that is making them joyful or full of life. They're not excited about anything. They don't have any motivation or drive behind them. And that's a sure sign that their spirit is getting further and further away from being able to recharge, to reconnect. And again, sleep is just so important. I jealously guard my schedule. And sure, there's some times where my schedule can't be, kept exactly how I would prefer it to be kept. But it never goes for more than 2 days. That's like the rule, and I just do my schedule according to that. And I don't care if I have to give up something else to keep that schedule. You know why? Because everything else about me functions when that schedule is kept. At the underneath everything that you do is a foundation, and that foundation, how sturdy that is, how weak it is going to determine the effectiveness of everything that's put on top of it. And so if you don't have that solid foundation, you're going to find that you're putting forth the best effort that you can possibly have at that given time, but it's always seems to fall short, or it always seems to tumble down. It doesn't seem to stick. And this is why. It's because there's something wrong with the foundation. And when you're detoxing, you can really get an idea about, okay, you know what? I always thought my body liked this, but it turns out it only liked that because I was doing this, or I was taking this, or this other outside influence was inside of my body. And so my body was responding to that thing. You get to really strip away all of the other things that have been accumulated over time inside of your body, inside of your soul, and you really get to know yourself and find out what it is that makes you work the best, makes you function the best. And this is just really super, super important. So, again, try once a week, if possible, to sleep with no alarm. Um, and when I sleep, my body is just on a clock, and that's why I like to sleep, to get on a sleeping schedule, and a schedule throughout my day, really, because my body will just get into that rhythm, and everything just flows from that. It's not like I'm struggling to get up, because if the first thing that you're doing in the morning is a fight, how do you think the rest of the day is going to go? I'm struggling to get out of bed. How will I be struggling to do my work? How what kind of um, result am I going to be putting forth? And so if you can start getting into that some type of routine, even again if it's within 30 minutes of between 10:30 and 11, or 10 and 10:30, whatever works best for whatever your schedule is, give yourself that window, and that would be a great start. um I also want to mention, so I've given you a lot of information. I've given you a lot of stuff that you can kind of digest. Um, I want to point out something though. It's really important that you don't try to do all of these things at once. Okay, that's going to be so overwhelming. It's important that you just say, like, you know what, that one, that one thing, it really stuck with me, and I want to try implementing that. Um, I want to try doing that over the next, 30 days or whatever. Do you know it actually takes 62 days for your brain to make a habit? It actually takes 62 days for your brain to develop a new thought. That's how long it takes to become permanent. And so same thing is true for habits. You have to do that thing over and over and over before it's actually a part of you and a part like a set fixture in your life. And so pick one thing and just try to do that, consistently. Seriously, get a notebook that you only write your peaks and your valleys in every day, or that you start carrying with you to keep track of your triggers. And instead of stuffing the triggers, you agree that you're going to sit with your triggers for 10 minutes every night before bed, or whatever, whatever again works for you. But do that one thing, pick one thing. Maybe for you, it's like that stuff is too overwhelming for me. So what I can do is I can eat raw vegetables twice a day. I'm going to make sure of it. I'm going to put raw fruits and vegetables in my lunch every day for 2 weeks. I'm eating them no matter what. Whatever is going to work for you. Again, you know your schedule, you know your capabilities, what you can and cannot do, and what you can and cannot give up right now, and allow that one thing, to really start taking root, start accumulating momentum in your time, in your schedule, and allow it to take like focus. Yeah, focus your attention onto that thing. Because this is one of the things that I learned my own self dealing with a narcissist, is that I'm giving you the best of me. I've put my energy, I'm focused on whatever problem, whatever issue you're bringing up to me constantly. You've gotten all of my attention. You've gotten all of my energy. I need to stop doing that, okay? I need to not just stop giving you attention. I need to start focusing it somewhere else that's productive. I need to start putting it into something that's going to have fruit, that's going to be lasting, that's going to benefit me, that's going to benefit my children. So I can't be putting my energy, it's not just enough to stop the flow of energy. You have to put it into another place. You have to start focusing that same amount of energy, that same amount of time into another arena, you know? And so that is going to help you to start making these firm boundaries with the narcissist. And even if you're separated or you don't ever talk to the narcissist anymore, they can still be taking up just as much of your time, especially if you haven't healed from that type of abuse. Your thoughts are always about them. Your memories are constantly replaying the things that they did to you or said to you. Maybe you're imagining the things that you would say or you would do if you had the chance to do it again. All of that kind of stuff is doing a lot of damage inside of you, okay, to your brain. First of all, the way that you remember stuff. And again, I just mentioned the chemicals and the hormones that your brain dumps into your system every single time you think about it, every single time you remember that. Your body is responding to it. You see how this is just like an emotional tumultuous snowball that you're creating. And so I have a whole course on forgiveness where I really talk about why you need to be able to release, and how exactly to release that person from your life completely, body, soul, and spirit. It's because you might not, it could be years since you've seen the narcissist or dealt with the narcissist, and yet you still find that you're reeling from the effects of narcissistic abuse. I understand that it is very very deep, like that the abuse can run super deep. And this is again why, if you don't address the root of it, you're going to continue to find yourself going over the same issues and the same thoughts, the same emotions over and over and over again. So in my forgiveness course, I talk about exactly this, like the fact that without forgiveness, you're going to find yourself dealing with all of these physical ailments that come through the elongated process of dealing with the dump of chemicals into your system day in and day out. Anyway, that's kind of a side note. Um, yeah, if you're on medications, again, I hope that everybody understands like you need to take them. You can't just stop taking them. And if you're on medications, you shouldn't feel as though you're doing something negative to your body. You need to do what you need to do in the space that you're in, and it should be encouraged, by other people, that you do the process that is going to work for you. With We might all take different roads to get to the end, and how that looks for you and works for you. Nobody else can judge you for that, and so you need to do what is right for you and not feel bad about that. But you should also know that the medications are having an effect on your body. So maybe before the medications, you could eat however you wanted. But maybe with the medications, you can't have so many cups of coffee, or you need to cut back on the greasy foods or whatever, the fast foods that you're eating. You need to really start taking a look at what are the elements that are making up your life. What are the exact things that I'm taking into my body, whether that's through food or medication or drinks, or whether that's through entertainment and media and conversations that I'm having with people and atmospheres that I'm stepping into, and really being aware again of all of the things that you're consuming. This is going to help you really have an understanding of why some of the things are happening, of what is actually making a lot of those emotions or feelings within your body come to the surface. And once you can understand that, then you can address the issue for real, not just like the symptoms of the issue. Um, okay, I'm almost done. I just want to make two more quick announcements. First of all, I talk about this much more in my Life After Narcissism course, but I cannot stress enough the importance of taking communion every day. You need to take communion every day. If there's something going on in your body, if there's an issue, an emotional issue in your soul where you cannot, you're very depressed, or there's anxiety, or there's unforgiveness, you need to take communion every day. And I think everybody should take communion every day, regardless of what's going on. I've been taking communion every day for, I think, 3 years now. Um, and it's part of my morning routine. And there is a lot, there's so much behind this. This is like a whole teaching on itself, but very quickly, in Exodus, the Israelites are about to leave Egypt, and the destroyer is coming. And God tells them, "You put blood on the doorposts, and the destroyer will pass over your house." In the spirit realm, where there is no blood, there is a legal right for the destroyer to come and take blood. There is a legal right for the destroyer to take blood where there is no blood. The communion is Jesus's body and blood. And he said that if you are the vine, I'm the vine and you are the branches, and if I abide in you and you abide in me, that is how this whole thing needs to work. You need to do what I say. The words that I speak need to come out of your mouth. This is how it works. It's literally having a part of him within us. And communion is so powerful. The blood of Jesus is the most powerful substance in the entire universe, in the entire cosmos, every single realm. And so taking communion can bust through any type of stronghold that has been in your life. See how your life changes by taking communion. There's a good book that Bill Johnson wrote. It's called The Power of Communion. Highly recommend it. And he talks exactly about how he takes communion every day, and how this has just changed his spiritual life completely, his physical life even. And he talks about how one time he was literally, the doctors had told his wife that he was going to pass, that there was nothing else he could do. He was being kept alive by tubes, and they were feeding him through it. He couldn't eat, he couldn't drink, he couldn't talk. And his wife was taking communion for him every day, and on his behalf was taking communion. And obviously he's fully alive and well, no issues since. Taking communion is the most powerful thing that you can do, and I'm telling you this in a very short, condensed couple of minutes here, but I am telling you, if you need to detox, you need to be taking communion every day. You need to make it that has to be a permanent fixture in your life. Um, there would be a lot more manifestations of kingdom if we were all committed to doing that. Okay, so I don't have time to teach a whole thing on that. I just wanted to mention it in case somebody is not doing that. One more thing. Okay, one more thing. Two more things. Second of all, I have a private Facebook group that anybody is welcome to join. I just started it the 1st of January, and I believe the link is in the description of this video. So come and join if you want to. It's just a group where we should just share our stories, encouragement with one another, kind of what other people are going through. You can get advice if you want to. I put uploads in that and posts in that group that I don't post anywhere else. And so if you want to, come and join. If you don't want to, and you know somebody who does, please refer them. It's just a community that I felt like I could. I wanted to be able to reach people who were looking for more support on a daily basis, but I can't get on here and do an hour-long Facebook Live or YouTube Live every day. So it's just another way that I can help, and we can come together and support one another. Okay. Last announcement. In 3 weeks, my Life After Narcissism mentorship program starts. It is the live course. I only run it one time a year, and it's 12 weeks long. You can find all the information about it on my website. Description of that is definitely in the link for it is in the description of this video. And so yeah, if you're thinking about joining, join. It won't be available until 2021. And so again, I just run it one time a year. It's the live version of the mentorship program that is available on YouTube, except this one is a lot more in depth. It really talks a lot more about the spiritual aspects, about things that you need to do in order to break soul ties, not just like the regular teaching stuff that is widely available, I guess. This is all like very, this stuff is very personal to me. It's stuff that I've and not just gone through my own self, not just used my own self, but you understand that there's a lot that I had to go through to get this knowledge. This is very sacred to me. So I only share it in the live program that I do once a year. And the real reason for it is because I only want to give it to people who are going to treat it with respect and who are seriously hungry and looking to make a change. So anyway, that starts the 2nd or the 3rd of February. The 2nd, I believe it's the 2nd. And so that'll run for 12 weeks. Okay, so that was really long. That was much long. I thought I was going to be on here for 20 minutes. So I hope that was helpful. Do you guys have any questions? Does anybody on here have any questions that you want to do question and answer with me before I get off of here? Do you guys think this was helpful? Was it interesting or fun? I can definitely do these, start scheduling them into the schedule maybe once a month or something. The other thing is that I'm looking into doing a live like meetup group in Tampa sometime in February. So I'm looking at venues right now. I have several in mind. It's mostly just trying to look at who's available on what days and things like that. So I'll put an announcement out for that shortly in the next 2 weeks or so. I'll have a date and a place nailed down. So if you're in Florida, if you're in the Tampa area, come on out. Let's get together. Let's meet in person, and let's form an in-person community as well. Okay, so you guys have any questions, or if not, that's okay too. And this will be the end of this YouTube live. Yeah, so these comments go away very quickly. So if you had messaged me, if you had messaged me any questions, please put them back up because I don't know how to make them come back up in the live. And also, for whatever reason, and I did another live and the questions went away. After the live was done, you couldn't go back and read them. So I know somebody had asked me something. I just quickly looked up and the comment had gone. So I wasn't ever able to address that. And so I'm sorry. I read all of the comments that are on my YouTube channel. I respond to them all myself. And so I do take your comments and your questions really seriously, and I try to respond to every single one. So sorry if I've missed yours. And if it was in the live, it's because the comments don't stay with the video. So okay, well, great. It's given you some other ideas of places that you can go next after you're done doing the one that you're at. Really, I want you to know, like, there's just so many ways that you can start the process. And again, whatever is going to be easiest for you, take the baby step first. It's not about how much, how quick. It's about something that will last. You know, that's the most important thing. Is it's not just doing something to do it. You want to actually have the fruit of it to stick with you, to have it be something that's incorporated into not just your life, but that you can give to somebody else, you know, that you can help somebody else out, that you can teach your children, you know, all of that kind of stuff. This needs to stick with you. Okay, would it be wise? Tracy, what state are you in? What state are you in? And was that one court ordered? Was the one that you did court ordered? I've got two thoughts on it. Texas, okay. And was the one that you did court ordered? Was it court ordered that you see a psychologist to do that? I've got two thoughts on it. Texas, in fact, if you would please message me after this, if you could send me an email. No, it wasn't. Okay, so send me an email because I've got something else that I would prefer to not announce on YouTube. Some other thoughts anyway, so please send me an email and I'll respond. So yes, I would say then yes, just it would be wise to, if that one, I mean, I've got a bunch of questions like, why did you do the evaluation in the first place? But the problem is going to be, you're gonna definitely run into something. Yes, you're welcome. You're gonna find two things. So if you do another evaluation by a different psychologist, of course they're gonna come back and say, you know, we've already have the diagnosis, blah 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 blah, and you're gonna contest it, and the judge is gonna say, okay, we're gonna do one that's court ordered. The judge is going to pick a psychologist or a psychiatrist that you're gonna go see, and that third one is going to do the evaluation. You can run into some problems with that, quite honestly, because the court ordered people know each other. So if you've already gotten one that says yes and you've gotten one that says no, the chances of you running into that third tiebreaker psychologist that doesn't side with the first one is unlikely. And if that's the case, if the judge makes a ruling based off of that third evaluation that was court ordered, that hypothetically would be court ordered, it's going to be difficult for you to appeal the ruling. So again, I have some other thoughts on it. If you wouldn't mind just sending me an email so that I can respond to that. But that's a really interesting question. And I believe that situation is going to be, we're going to see a spike in that type of scenario, unfortunately. In Tampa, that is a common situation. There is even there is a person who's a psychologist, and she is known to diagnose people with Munchausen's. And this was a whole situation that I went through with my twins' biological father. And that was the person that the judge ruled should do my psychological evaluation. So there is, I believe that there's going to be, you're going to find more and more corruption in that arena, is my point. Ultimately, is that there is going to be, until it's exposed and people are starting to get wise to what's happening and starting to demand changes made to the actual system itself, the way that guardian ad litems are appointed, the way that psychological evaluation personnel are chosen, and that kind of thing, because it's part of the systems now. You know that this is a whole machine working to create profit and power and things like that. So I see a bunch of problems happening in that arena, and I think there will be an uptick in that kind of activity until enough people figure out what's happening and vote appropriately. So I am sorry to hear about your situation, but please do email me. I do have some other thoughts. So okay, well, guys, thank you so much for joining. This was so fun. I, again, just hope that this was beneficial. I hope that this information serves you and kind of gives you a starting point for your, for detoxing. You know, taking care of your body is really important. And in my upcoming videos that I have being released every Friday, I'm talking about how, you know, you have 3 entry points into your being, your body, your soul, and your spirit. And by being able to identify those points and being able to know yourself and how information and how just other substances are getting into your body, whether good or bad, being aware of that, you're going to be able to change and make adjustments. And your body is so important. You know, it houses your soul and your spirit, and so without it, your quality of life, you know, when your body is sick, the rest of you is going to be sick. You know, your mind isn't going to be as sharp, and your emotions are going to be more depressed, and your spirit isn't going to be as receptive. So it's very super important, and I definitely encourage everybody to you know, start valuing the vessel that you're walking around in. So yes. Okay. Well, you guys have a great night. Have a blessed night. Thank you so much again for joining live. And be on the lookout for that announcement too. I'm going to announce about when and where to do a live meeting in the Tampa area. So, okay, you guys have a great night, and I will see you next time.